it's Leslie from Sew A Lot Creative Sewing Centers, and I want to talk to you about one of my favorite things, Accuquilt strip dies. So you may have heard of Accuquilt cutting products. This is the Accuquilt Go Big. There are 3 additional Accuquilt cutters that are available: Go Me, Go Bolt, which is the newest of the family, and the Go Big. These are great accessories in your sewing room. And the reason I chose the strip die as one of my favorite things is because I can use this strip die to cut strips, to cut squares, to subcut rectangles. I can use this in so many of my quilting projects because a lot of our pieces are squares, rectangles, and strips. It gives me more accurate cuts, no more slipping rulers. It takes up less time because it cuts so much faster than I can with my ruler and rotary cutter. It also gives me the option to subcut sizes. Not only can I do squares, rectangles, and strips, but I can actually do 60, 45, and 30-degree diamonds as well with my strip die boards. Strip dies are available in a multitude of sizes, anywhere from 1 inch up to 6.5 inches wide. This gives us great opportunity for quick, perfect, accurate cutting that is done so speedily that we can be sitting at our machines and creating. So I just wanted to show you a little bit about the Accuquilt strip die and what can be done with it, along with a couple other things available from Accuquilt. Hope you enjoy. So what the Accuquilt cutter system is there are 4 different cutting machine options that range from the Go Me, the Go Bolt, and the Go Big electric. Both the Bolt and the Go Big are both electric cutting machines, and the Go Me and the Go are cutting machines that will use a hand crank system to propel the dies through it. Each cut will be done using a die board, and within these boards they will have stainless steel blades that are down inside for the different shape or strip that you're looking to cut. Along with your machine and your die, you will also have cutting mats that you will use to place over top to create that pressure point as it runs through the cutter. So why the strip dies? I absolutely love the Go system for cutting my strips. If you've ever cut strips and you find that sometimes your strips might have a little bow in them right at the fold, or you just can't hold that ruler straight and get your strips nice and straight and consistent, this is going to allow you to cut strips extremely accurately and much faster than what you can do by hand. So this particular board is a 2.5 inch cut strip. On here, it will cut the strips the length of the fabric, so it will cut a full width of fabric, and it will also allow you to subcut that into smaller squares, 2.5, by replacing your strips across the board. You can cut diamonds at 60, 45, and 30 degrees. So it's more than just a strip, but the strip cutting function is one of my absolute favorites. So here we go. I'm going to cut a few strips so you can see how that's done. So from here, I'm going to show you how to lay that fabric right onto the strip die. I've got 3 pieces prepped here. These are about 1/4 yard. You don't need quite that much fabric, but that's what I had in these, so I'm going to go ahead and cut them. My folds are up here at the top, and I've trimmed my selvages off just because I don't want to deal with those in my strips. So I'm going to lay these across this straight line here. My folds I'm going to line right up, and I've got 3 pieces. So I have 3 pieces width of fabric. They are on their folds, so they do equal out to 6 layers. I'm going to cover it up with my cutting mat, and I'm going to slide this into my cutter. So these boards that are a little bit wider will fit 3 different sizes of the cutters. They will fit the Go Bolt, and the Go Big. There are some smaller boards for the Go Me that will allow you to do some strip cutting, but they won't do as many strips across depending on what size strips that you're looking for. I am going to kind of rub across my mat just to help with the static electricity. There are a lot of different size strips available on these die boards. We have 1.5, some come in 3/4 inch cut sizes, so like 1 3/4, just depending on what it is, up to 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, and even 6s in different strip widths. Again, the board will cut as many as it will allow. So you've got these, they're all cut perfectly. So I have just cut up all the strips that I need for my project in just a few minutes. And they are all straight and accurate. And I'm going to show you the whole pile. The whole pile of strips. Just cut those up. It took me less than 10 minutes to cut all of these and be ready to prep for my next project. This is one reason I love, love, love the strip dies. It's great for pieces you're going to turn around and subcut later. It's great for pieces that we're going to use for borders and bindings. So you have lots of options with the strip dies that are available. So I want to show you a couple other cuts that we can do with the strip die. So again, with this is just a piece I've grabbed out of my stash. It's actually bigger than my board needs to be. I'm going to place that on the fold, and then I'm just going to fold this piece back. We're going to get a couple extra strips out of it. We're going to cut these just like we did before. I'm going to grab my board and pull off that mat, and I've got this other crazy piece because we folded that across, but we've got 1, 2, and then single layers of strips here. I want to show you a couple other cuts we can make with this board. So we have a 90-degree line right here. I can actually take this strip, lay it on here crossways, back and forth, and I can load this board up with these all the way across, side by side. So if you're doing a project that you need 2.5 inch squares and you're using the 2.5 inch strip die, you're just going to load this up all the way across. We're going to put the mat on and we're going to make another cut. This is not just for 2.5 inch strips or squares. You can do this with a 5.5 inch square or a 5.5 inch strip. You can cross lay it and cut 5.5 inch squares. So it's a great, fast, accurate way to cut perfect squares for your projects. But I have perfect 2.5 inch squares ready for my next project that's calling for them. I'll show you one other quick project. So with my die cutter, I'm able to cut those perfectly sized squares. I'm working on a project currently that calls for 2.5 inch squares. You see all my cut squares. From here, I'm going to use the Quilt Smart pre-printed interfacing that has 2.5 inch squares on it. I can load this piece up with all those matching squares that I've just so easily cut. I can load this up and I can create my project so simply and easy. Let me show you an example. So here is a piece of this grid with those 2.5 inch squares already adhered to it. So if you're looking for simple patchwork piecing where everything lines up beautifully, this fusible grid is something great, and it works wonderful alongside your strip dies for your Accuquilt cutter. Okay, one more thing about strip dies. So we talked about that we have these angles, 30, 45, and 60 degrees. Just like we lined up on our 90 degree, if we were looking to cut some diamonds that are 30 degrees, I'm just gonna fold this back so it's not caught in there, or 45 degrees, or 60 degrees for that matter, we can line these strips that we've already cut up on those markings, put our mat in, and slide this back through our cutter. You can see those beautiful diamond shapes that we so easily created and cut. And these are just a few things you can do with those strip die boards. Now the Go cutters cut more than just strips, remember that, as well as more than just subcutting. The next cut I'm going to show you is how we can cut binding on the bias using that 2.5 inch strip die. So out of a 1/2 yard of fabric, we can get binding cut in no time for even a nice size lap quilt. And look, here we have our lovely bias strips cut in multiple pieces and layers for us to be able to create all that wonderful bias binding. Super easy to cut that out. All of those strips ready to go. We can just stitch those together and create lovely bias binding all in one pass out of a half yard of fabric. We'll link some videos below on the process on how to fold and get this done. That being said, strip dies are not the only kind of dies that Accuquilt has. They also have many types of designs that contain different shapes. These are great for appliques. So just like we can with our fabric when we're creating an applique, we can put a double-sided fusible backing on our fabric and we can create a piece to fit our board. Now this piece again is just a scrap left over from another project. So I'm just going to cover up the area that I need. Again, I can cut multiple layers of this. I'm going to cover it up with a smaller mat and I'm going to run this through my cutter. You'll see any of that extra fabric that wasn't on the board is not cut. I can use that later for additional projects. But now I have my beautiful appliques that I can take to my project, fuse down, and stitch in place. Look how easy that is to get such fun, cute appliques. This is just one other type of die that Accuquilt has. They also have blocks on board, which can be anything from a small block to something larger, like the log cabin block die, which will give you 12 different strips cut to the exact sizes that you would need to make a perfect scrappy log cabin block. You can cut the strips out in a multitude of colors, and when you put those together, you're going to get beautiful log cabin blocks that then you can use in all different types of projects. Here's just a sample of one. It makes it such a fun and easy way to use up some of your scraps or to start new with fabric. This one was kind of fun. It was done using ombre fabric along with a white. So it didn't take this many colors to create this fun, neat project. I love a good block on board. So many options with that. You'll need to check it out. And from there are also offerings for cubes that allow you to do lots of different shapes. I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen from the Accuquilt strip die. If you have questions, please reach out to us at either store location, Centerville or Lexington, and we would be glad to answer your questions. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe.